Hey everybody, this is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. In our last episode of 2025, we'll be touching upon a topic that every agent should care deeply about and can be a major driver for your business, and that is how to get found online. My guest this week is Sharif Hatab, team leader of Team Sharif Sells from our Fox Roach Robbinsville office. Sharif brings a rare blend of IT, marketing, and real estate expertise to the table, and that background shows up in everything he does. His approach to SEO, branding, and online visibility is disciplined, systematic, and incredibly intentional. Sharif's strategies have helped him and his team stay ahead of the curve by mastering Google SEO and adapting daily to how consumers search, engage, and choose agents online. In this episode, we'll break down what actually works, what most agents misunderstand about online visibility, and how to stay relevant in a digital world that never stands still. So let's dive into this week's episode with my special guest, Sharif Hatab. If you're looking for a realtor, my next guest today is easy to find, and that's exactly why we're here today, to talk about how to get found online. He has brought his IT and marketing background into real estate, even throwing in a little podcasting of his own into the mix, and he's used those skills to absolutely blow up in real estate. His name is Sharif Hatab, team leader of Team Sharif Sells out of our Fox Roach Robbinsville office. Sharif, how's it going?
Hey, Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for joining us. You're a busy man, so I'm glad that we can make this happen. I have been an admirer of yours from afar for several years. And so I think one of those things that drove this were when I first knew of you, and I mentioned this as we talked earlier in the week, that I saw you on a panel and I was so impressed by what you talked about and how you run your team that I'm like, I have to get this guy on the podcast. So I'm glad we can make this happen. And since we're at the end of 2025, this is a great opportunity for us to pick your brain a little bit about maximizing our online exposure and make it easier to be found and therefore potentially do more business. So I'm going to start off with this question. When a consumer browses the internet in order to find their next real estate agent, we often see the same local agent show up time and time again in multiple places at the top of a consumer search online. I want to know what those agents in particular are doing and understanding about getting seen on the internet that is better than other agents are doing.
Totally get that. I mean, great question. But really what it comes down to is agents that you see consistently at the top understand that visibility is not just luck, right? And it's not about the platform itself. It's about the systems behind it. So really the agents that show up on top understand that Google's looking for authority, relevance, consistency across the board, not just on Google itself, right? And that means that your website, your business profile, your reviews, content, social platforms, backlinks, that all comes into play. And it's really what the factors are that help you rank on those sites. Now, one thing that agents chase, and really they shouldn't be, they chase, basically multiple things and are not focused on really building their brand online. So that's the constant, thing that's in our memories. People that are showing up on the top is we're trying to do it consistently and doing it on certain areas so that we can build on those.
So let's talk about and let's dive into that a little bit deeper because, there are certain agents that do a certain level of production. They're fine agents, right? They know what they're doing in the real estate space, but they may have weak online visibility. So where is the first place, in your opinion, that they should focus in order to close the gap between themselves and the agents with a stronger presence on the internet? Where should they start? What's our foundation?
Sure. I mean, I can tell you what our foundation was, and really that should be the basis of it. But really it came down to our website and our Google profile. Those are the two most important things with your presence online. You should have, if you're not dominating Google, everything else is just noise, right? Like that's really, I mean, besides AI today, really Google is what people are using to search and find people. Social media can help, but it doesn't replace searching, right? It's just like an added benefit. So really the two things you want to focus on is your website, your brand website, right? And your Google profile.
And I want to make that distinction because we have our templated Fox and Roach website, right? That agents are allotted when they join Fox and Roach. We all have the same formatted website, but you are talking about a dedicated website to you that you build out. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, we've had our website for a while now before we even used any of the Fox Roach pages. It's sharifsells.com and it's built on WordPress. It's something that we control internally. We're able to update as needed, which we do regularly, especially with blogs, pictures, relevant information that people are searching for because it all helps with SEO. Now, I know you mentioned, my background is IT and marketing. So it's something that I knew how to do prior, and I just implemented it into my real estate business, and that's when it really shot off.
I know that with your background, you know how to think about these things. For me, like I have someone that I hire in particular to think about Google for me and to also do my personal website, which is ostrowskiteam.com. So that leads us into our next question, because you had mentioned earlier content, and kind of what content gets things going online for you. So what particular type of content, you had mentioned blogs previously, is performing best for you to gain online visibility? What content is out there that you're gravitating towards? And is there one thing that stands out to you above the rest right now?
Yeah, I mean, content that we're really, concentrating on is just relevant information, kind of localizing a lot of that information. We've been doing recent blogs about what to do for the holidays locally. We have blogs that are top performing blogs that talk about the direction of your home because it was a question that we just kept getting from our consumers. So really, that's the type of stuff that we're really putting on informational wise. We're also updating our Google profile. That's a lot of people, what they do is they just, set it up and then forget about it. But we update it on a consistent basis. People don't know there's like an FAQ section that you should have completed. We're always uploading, photography of our most recent listings, making sure they're geotagged, which is actually putting in the location of the actual picture so that the search algorithm can find that as well. We're doing posts on Google itself. Everyone should know that you can actually post on Google. You should be treating Google almost like a social media platform, other than, what people do now is just use it as a business listing page, right? So making sure you complete all sections of your Google profile is important, and it's something we concentrate on consistently. In addition to that, just having some type of system to get reviews. Reviews are probably one of the biggest, reasons why we rank so high as well.
We're going to get into that because that's amazing by itself. I told you that on the phone. I can't wait to talk to you about that. But when I search your Google profile, I'm seeing all kinds of content. I'm seeing video on there. You talk about the blogs that are on there. I didn't even know there's an FAQ section that I can fill out. So I'm already gleaning information from you, and I'm just waiting to get off of this podcast to dive into that, because Google is where it's at. I mean, Google, everybody searches Google. Everybody Googles each other. Now we're heading into that AI space. We're going to get into that as well. But from your perspective, what is the biggest mistake, or are the biggest mistakes agents make out there with their Google business profile? And you mentioned a couple of these, but how can we stand out in a crowded Google field?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be consistent. And really, that's just the rule of thumb. And anything that you do, especially when it's business related, you just got to be consistent with it. So I find that, like I'd mentioned, the biggest downfall that agents have currently is they set it and forget it, and they're not constantly updating it. So Google likes to see that you're interacting with the profile page and utilizing every section of it. So you want to be doing that on a consistent basis.
So by consistent, just you personally, do you try and get in there and do something every day and switch up, whether that's a Google review, whether that's a blog post, whether that's video content, doing something on Google, posting on Google. Are you trying to hit it every single day?
Every
Or is
day,
that a couple days
every
a week?
day. Yep,
Okay.
you got it. Definitely. We're doing it every day. We list about 2 to 3 properties a week. So we're blessed to have that kind of content. So we're able to use those pictures of the listings to upload it to the photo section of Google, which is very important. Again, it should be geotag photos. I mean, when we have agents join our team, one of their requirements is to get at least minimum 5 reviews from their sphere, right? So you can see we're always touching our Google page. There's always something happening to it, and that's what Google wants to see. Not only are people visiting your page, but also you're updating the content and making it, more mainstream, more of what's happening right now. And if you can get it localized, that'd be best.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You know better than I do, but it's all about relevance. And Google rewards the relevance if you stay on top of things, if you can continually upload stuff, you have new stuff happening, it rewards you with your SEO. Is that correct?
That is correct. And you want to be more on the quality side of things more than the quantity side of things, right? You want the quality of what you're putting up there to actually grab people's attention so they are clicking on it. I mean, we're always looking at reports on the back end to see how many clicks we're getting, how many phone calls, and really interactions to see how we can increase on that. So knowing your numbers is also important, right? And that again is not just for your online presence. This is across the board. You should know your numbers because in order for you to improve, you need to know where you're at and where you need to get to. So that's another thing that we do on a high level.
Well, speaking of knowing your numbers, you are a flat out Jedi master when it comes to Google reviews. So, as of today, I checked before we got on here, you have 379 5-star Google reviews on your Google profile, which is insane. Is there a review strategy that you use to make your reviews more effective versus just collecting them at random?
Of course. I mean, we have automations in place to collect these reviews to make sure that we're still consistently building up on our reviews, right? We actually, like I had mentioned, new agents, that join our team are going out to their sphere and past clients, and they're getting reviews before they can actually transact on our team, right? It's one of our requirements to be part of the team. So we have content about them. How do we leverage that? Well, now we have social media posts about these agents, right? And we can redirect back to their brand page and also our Google page. So it helps with that. Now, one of the most important factors is actually talking to your clients about it, right? You never know if you're going to get a review unless you ask. So we have automation set up in our system. We use Follow Up Boss as a CRM. And what happens is when we take a deal and switch it over, say, from listing to AR, we have attorney review in New Jersey. Basically, that means that they have accepted an offer, right? An automatic email goes out to them to ask them about their review experience. And we don't just ask them for a review, we give them key questions to answer, right? Like where their home is located, how they found us, why they chose us. These are different questions. We're kind of, putting it up there for them and just making it so it's easy for them to answer it and know what type of content we're looking for. So we do that right when an actual, and the transaction goes into an AR stage or a pending stage, right? And then we also send them another follow-up email once it closes. So this is something that's built into our email automations, and it's something we're always thinking about how to increase reviews. From time and time again on the team, what we'll do is we'll run a review contest for the agents as well. So they have a reason to go out there and get more reviews. And I would think the reason by itself would be just for us to have content, but to have a little prize that they can win is also something that motivates them.
I love that, man. You are so systematic with what you do. And it's just really impressive to hear you talk about this. And you can see how your IT and marketing background comes into play with real estate. It's like baked into everything that you are talking about. which I absolutely love. And I want to get this point across. You talk about the different stages that you might send a client a follow-up to ask for a review, to ask about, you had talked about like where their home is, different Google questions. In your opinion, is there a shelf life for asking for reviews? Like, I do it right away when I ask for a review after we close on a property. But in your opinion, is there kind of a certain time frame that you like to do it in, or are you, systematically and strategically asking at different times?
I mean, really, you want to try to do it when it's still, a hot memory for your clients, right? The people that you're asking for a review. That's probably when you're going to have the best success doing it. But no, I don't think there's actually a lifeline to it. You could ask for a review at any given point, and it doesn't have to just be your past clients. You can get character reference from your sphere. I mean, I know somebody that just walks up to random people and asks them for a review. So let's think about it though. If you were going to a restaurant or visiting an area and you were looking into hotels, what do you do first? You search the area, you search for restaurant, right? And then what are you doing automatically? You're looking to see who has the most reviews. So we want to look at the same thing when people are searching for us. So that's the basis of it, just to have a lot of client experiences, a lot of character, references somewhere where people can search it. So that's the key, is we're just always thinking about it on a consistent basis. And we've learned that it's easier to do so when people are happy, right? That's probably the best time you want to get a review. When are people the happiest in a transaction? When they find a property that they wanted, or they go under contract on the property that they're selling. So we figured, okay, emotionally wise, that's a good time to ask. Another time that they're happy, when they actually transact and close the transaction, either purchasing a property or selling it, is also a great time to do it, right? Because that's the happiest they are. So those are the times that we have the best success with.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, your team has more reviews than most brokerages have.
Yeah, we compete with brokerages.
Now you're a brokerage within a brokerage, but yeah, you're competing with other brokerages that may have hundreds of agents in the office. So, I mean, it's really impressive. So most agents or I should say many agents, rely heavily on social media. How do you think agents should think about the relationship between social platforms and search engines like Google?
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Google's the place where people search for things, right? Social media just complements. It's great to get the word out through social media, but when people are actually searching, they're going to Google. For instance, if you were to post something on social media, if someone were to be keen to that topic and they want to actually know more about you, they're going to go ahead and jump off of social media and then search you on Google to figure out, okay, is this person real or not, right? So I think, it's always good. We post 3 to 5 times a day on social media, but we're usually redirecting to our website or some more other online platform where we're getting more hits, right? So that's really the case when it comes down to optimizing your online presence, is understanding how to use both tools, right? So I use social media as just a way to complement our search platform or our digital presence on Google itself.
So you're talking about, posting a lot, doing a lot of things on Google. Do you have a dedicated person to help you with these items? And do you stack these items? Like, do you record these videos, maybe Monday morning, and you're, recording, say, 5 at a time? Or do you try to video stack in terms of content to push out later?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, normally, 2 to 3 days a month are content days. And then every Sunday I do my own podcast as well, which we cut up and make reels out of. So we definitely stack it up, and then things kind of relate to each other. Like we actually have a social media committee on the team. It's a few agents that get together to figure out content. They produce the content, they throw it out in our Google chat to the rest of the agents and post themselves. We take that content sometimes and we'll make an email template out of it. We'll make a blog out of it. And in return, we'll make an actual team post out of it as well. So everything relates, and we're trying to get it back to the same page on our site. So we're increasing the views on our site because I'm always conscious about our search engine optimization.
Yeah, what you're describing, content begets content begets content. Like you're in all these different places and you have all these different tentacles like all over the place is how I envision you online. And
Yeah.
that's what it takes to stay at the top like you do. So have you changed or tweaked your online strategy over time in order to continue to stand out? And what should agents be doing differently today compared to even, say, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely developed over time. If you look at some of my older posts or videos, they're lower quality, right? We didn't have a videographer at the time. I was doing just the actual content on my own camera. I was shooting it myself. I was actually cutting it up. I was doing the editing of it. Where now we have specialized people that do every part of that, right? So definitely it'll evolve over time. And what I think the agents should do differently is like Nike. Just do it, right? Get out of your head. Stop overthinking the process and actually just do the tasks. It'll eventually get better with time. Like the podcast, I didn't always have a podcast setup. I didn't have a professional camera that I always used, but that develops over time. You don't want to be that person. Like I know multiple people across the country, they'll go out and buy all this equipment and never touch it. That's the problem. What I'd rather you do is go do the unprofessional stuff, then go buy the professional equipment once you get into a habit, a routine, and get consistent with it.
Yeah, I would like to, or at least I'd like to say that I've gotten better at podcasting 123 episodes in. I mean, it just practice makes perfect, right? And like you said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Get out there and actually do these things and get better at these things and post these things, right? Get over it. Get over yourself. Get over how you look. Get over how you sound. It is what it is. Get that content out there. So,
Totally.
all right. So AI, I don't want to beat a dead horse about AI. Obviously, we know the importance of AI and how it's coming into play into our business now. So it's becoming a starting point for consumer research. And how, we see the Zillows on AI now and everybody is following suit. How do agents position themselves so they show up or are referenced within that AI-driven search results?
Yeah, I mean, if you pay attention to when you're asking AI questions, it normally references certain pages that it pulled the data from. So you should be focusing on your Google profile and it should be consistent information everywhere. So NAP is huge, right? So your name, your address, and your phone number should be consistent everywhere if you want both Google searches and AI to find you. Your actual profile, your bio on all those pages like Google and your website, websites like Zillow, Fast Expert, they're all utilized by AI to find the actual answers to those questions that people are asking. So you want to make sure that all those places are updated and they're consistent. You don't want a different phone number on, your Zillow profile, contrary to your Fast Expert or your website. You want to make sure all the consistent information is across the board. That is one of the most important things. I mean, I have a few ways to actually optimize your AI, but that'd be a whole nother episode, Jay. So if anybody was interested in it, they can just contact me and I can shoot them, what we've done to optimize our AI presence.
Yeah, I certainly don't want people's eyes to glaze over. You're hitting us with a lot of information already. If we dive into that space, we're never going to get out of that black hole. So,
yeah, I mean, I have a chat prompt that'll actually rewrite your bio so it's found by chat and other AI software. So there's so much out there, and I recommend if you really want to optimize and get better at AI, you should visit Rajiv's podcast, right? It's Real Estate AI Flash, I believe is the name of it. And I got a lot of my, hints and tips and tricks from watching his stuff.
well, you mentioned AI Flash, and that's where a couple weeks ago, I'm updating all my bios so they're seamless across all platforms. I'm on Fast Expert, as you mentioned. I'm on Homelight. I'm doing the things that I need to do to stay relevant and stay on top of things so I show up in the search. And that's what agents should be focused on right now. If you haven't done that yet, I would recommend getting out there and making sure that your bios, your profile are seamless, that they make sense. You can use ChatGPT to give you a bio for all these platforms that matches. And that's one of the tips and tricks that Rajiv has given out there to everybody. So yeah, that's great advice. So I know we're winding down here. I know you have to get out of here soon. Looking ahead, what do you think will matter most for being found online in the next 2 to 3 years? We talked a little bit about this, but what should agents start doing now to stay ahead?
I mean, honestly, is be present and be consistent, right? That's one of the most important things, I think, in different aspects of this business. So you definitely just want to just start doing something and just get consistent with it. I think, honestly, local topics are going to be a very trending, post ideas that people are going to be jumping on. Videos with local, business owners, topics on blog posts about local, eateries, local things to do. I think that's where you really need to tackle it. And also diving in, not so much on the real estate side of things, but just informational based topics that'll bring people that are searching just on certain areas to your site and your actual digital performance.
That's great advice. Yeah, everything is hyper local, right? The more hyper local that you can get, the more you're going to drive people to your stuff online. So, you have your own podcast, and so you're no stranger to the podcasting field. What have you learned from your time podcasting, and what has it done for your real estate business? Because I know what it's done for mine. What has it done for yours?
I mean, I get it a lot of time when I see people randomly, they'll tell me about an episode that they watched or a reel that took them to the podcast itself, right? So, with that being said, we just provide a lot of content to other agents out there to help them. So I've gotten a lot more interactions from agents. We've picked up agents to join our team through doing the podcast as well. So that's really what the best strength I find, only because for our podcast, we picked an avatar, and our avatar was a real estate agent that was struggling. So we talked to a lot of those people through the podcast now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what it's done just for me personally. It's meeting people like yourself, right? And across our wide network of agents within Fox and Roach, we're encompassing 3 states. It's enabled me to meet some really impressive people and to have you on the podcast so other people can hear your message, which is just absolutely invaluable what you're putting out there right now. So, all right. I'm going to end this on this question. I'm going to end the podcast on this question. Since you come from an IT background, does it particularly drive you nuts when you're in a crowded real estate seminar and all the phones are supposed to be silenced and off for that seminar, and inevitably someone in the crowd gets a phone call, interrupts the whole event as the owner fumbles to try and silence their phone in vain, and they can't seem to get the sound turned off? Is your first instinct, coming from an IT background, is your first instinct to go over there and help this person, or does it send you into a murderous rage?
I mean, I always want to help people, right? But I just think that you should know, if you're in some type of a group atmosphere or presentation setting, you should have your phone off or on silent. I can tell you personally, I never have my ringer on, so I never have that issue. And I used to have a coach in the past that every time in a presentation, if a phone would ring, he would answer the call, right? And he would say something along the lines that would embarrass the person that actually got the call. Or he would take the phone and just run through the contacts and just play phone roulette and call random people out of the phone just so other people in the room got the point. You don't want to play with it. But I've had it happen to me. We do masterminds on a regular too. We invite local agents, and we teach them about certain topics that are trending. And it's not the most professional thing when you're sitting there listening to someone and then your phone starts to ring. So yes, I would try to help them, but I would be annoyed at the same time.
You're a better person than I am. That sends me through the roof, man. I just want to go over and smash that cell phone. I'm sorry. So anyway, Sharif, this has been awesome, man. I am so happy that we had you on because I personally, selfishly, can take some of the information on here, apply it to my business, and I know that all of our listeners can do the same out there. So, Sharif, where can we find you online if people want to look you up and find more out about you?
Sure. I think the best place is on our website or social media. It's sharifsells.com or just at Sharif Sells, and you'll find us on social. So that's probably the best way. Just reach out to me. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over. I have no problem with that.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. And hopefully you and I will cross paths at some point in time. You're in PA from time to time, so who knows? Maybe we'll end up doing a deal together.
Maybe, or we'll refer you a deal. Our first ChatGPT lead that we got, it's someone that came through, that found us through ChatGPT, is a 1031 exchange. They want to sell their house in Cherry Hill and buy something in Philly. So Jay, answer your phone when we send you that.
Hey,
Philly.
man, absolutely. I'm your guy. All right. And vice versa. I appreciate it, Sharif.
Anytime. Nice talking to you.
That was the podcast this week with Sharif Hatab. Some great information given by Sharif in this episode. Instead of giving you my takeaways from this episode, I would rather take this time just to say thank you. We are at the end of 2025 already, which is hard to believe. We are heading into a new year, and I just wanted to say how incredibly grateful I am for all of you who continue to listen to this podcast. We are over 5 years strong and running. We are 123 episodes into this podcast, which is hard to believe. And I want to thank each and every one of you that has been there from the beginning, or even if you're a new listener. It is truly an honor to do this for all of you, and I hope that you get something from each and every episode that we put out. So happy holidays to you and your families, and we will have some changes that we will be making on the podcast that I think you will like in 2026. So stay tuned for those, and we'll see you in the new year. Well, that's it for the podcast this week. We will be back in another couple of weeks with a new topic, a new guest, and as always, if you want to hear something that we haven't covered yet, please reach out to me, jason.ostrowski@foxroach.com. And if you haven't liked or subscribed to the podcast yet or left us a review, please do so. It helps us to reach more people. Once again, this is Jason Ostrowski saying stay safe out there, stay selling, and we'll catch you in the new year and on the next episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast.